Hi guys, so today's video is one that I've actually wanted to do for a long time, but I came across an article on Essence and I thought this is a good time because I have two women that I want to use as an example for the talking points that I hear often in today's society, especially by older women and also by some young women as well. Now, I want to say, first of all, this video is not to bash any woman's choice. Marriage is a choice, okay? You can choose to get married. You can choose not to get married. That is no one's business what you choose to do with your life. And so Nia Long is one of my favorite actresses, along with Sinai Lathan. And there have been some comments that they have made in the media or at different conferences and different podcasts about different things that I want to talk about today. So I want to make it clear that I am not talking about these women. They get to think and feel however they want to. There is no condemnation from me in that area. I am really speaking about their talking points, and I want to encourage younger women to explore their belief systems and what you have heard about marriage and what you believe about marriage, and see if that's going to match your lifestyle. So I want to play this first clip from Nia Long, and then I want to get into a deeper conversation on how people view marriage and how distorted that view is from time to time.
I think, look, marriage is love is complicated. Let's just start there. Mm-hmm. And then you start a marriage, which I've never been married, and there's a reason for that, because I don't know that I need to say I do to prove to you that I love you. But also, what is marriage really? That you own me now and I own you? Well, I don't get that part. I understand the religious aspect of marriage. That is beautiful and it's fantastical and it's, it's dreamy and it's, every girl's fantasy to have that moment. But I don't know that I need that to feel like I'm in a partnership that's working. But I do know that everyone in a long-term relationship has had the feeling where the spark is gone.
Stranger mode.
Yes.
And like, who are you?
Yeah. And really feeling lonely in a relationship, which is the worst thing you can feel. To be in a commitment and you still feel lonely, I'd rather be lonely by myself, because then you're kind of looking at the other person going, is he okay or is she okay? Is this a good day or a bad day? No one has time for that.
So you all heard that clip, and first I want to say kudos to Nia Long for understanding how spiritual marriage is and how beautiful it is. Marriage was created by God, okay? So everything that people say about marriage that is negative, all of the dark talking points, that has nothing to do with the institution of marriage, because God created marriage to be a good thing. It was created for a specific purpose. And so I want to say that I really loved how she respects the institution of marriage. Now I'm going to hit on some of her talking points after I read an article clip from her from a couple of years ago. She's talked about marriage previously, and she's still kind of been on this road of, I don't think marriage is for me. I don't know. We'll just see. But one thing that I found interesting that she said was, the ownership thing. And I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. But it went deeper to say, how love is complicated. And basically, in love, you may have situations where you're not in tune with the person that you live with, that you sleep next to every night, that you're building a future with, that you may be building a family with. And I think it's interesting how she said, nobody has time for that. And it's like, but that's what marriage is. We do have time for that. That's how you build community. That's how you build families. That's how you build that bond. And every couple is unique. and we're all going to have our different paths, and God will lead us to what our legacy will be as a couple. But it's just interesting how a lot of women, they don't really want to put the effort into building a relationship. And I hear men speak about this all of the time. And furthermore, people don't want to do what it takes to be committed and stay committed, but yet they have children by these men. And I think it's interesting that a woman would be willing to have a child with a man, but not marry him. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around that, because a child is going to bond you with that person for the rest of your life anyway. And it's interesting to me that you wouldn't want to start your family with that solid union of, we are in this till we die. We are going to do this for ourselves, for our families, for our community, and for our commitment to God, to be decent, to be in order. And everyone has different spiritual beliefs, and that's fine. But I really want to speak to the heart of young women that you want to have your children with your husband, okay? You want that commitment. And I think that because we have so many people that we look up to as celebrities, we sometimes listen to their talking points and their advice or thought processes about life and internalize them. And I don't think that we should. We need to dig deeper. And I'm going to dig deeper into, Nia's thought process, because I don't think marriage proves that you love someone, but I think marriage proves that you are committed to that person. Whether you wake up on Wednesday and feel like, oh, I don't love you anymore, or whether that person gets sick, or whether that person goes through some difficulty in their life, marriage is saying to God, I am in this for the long haul. We are going to stay committed to each other. We're going to be faithful. We're going to be loyal. We're going to be committed, and we're going to be a role model for the community and for our children, because that's how you build productive communities. And I believe that you can be productive, as an unmarried person, and you can be productive, in a boyfriend-girlfriend situation, but that is nowhere even remotely close to the level of being married. So I want to read an excerpt from this article with Nia Long. I want to reiterate that this video is not about Nia Long or any woman that I may bring up. It's really about the talking points of older women that I believe are being passed down to the younger generation. And I do believe it's important to combat some of these ideologies with women who are in happy marriages and with women that see the world from a different perspective and who may have had different life experiences. Because just because you're a celebrity, it doesn't mean you're knowledgeable about relationships, and it doesn't mean you're knowledgeable about how to have healthy relationships. And so let me read this excerpt to you. Marriage is not a priority for me. I'm not saying I'll never do it. It's just not where we are as a family, the Star reveals in the August issue of Essence. However, although confident in her choices, Long isn't oblivious to the constant scrutiny from being in the public eye. I'll be at home with my man, having a perfectly loving time, and I'll see all these comments on some site about how I'm wrong for not being married. She says, I don't feel less loved or less loving because I'm not married. Admitting she has never seen a marriage work, Long is instead focusing on finally having reached emotional maturity from her life with Udoka to her relationship with Masai's father. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but I'm just, I'm assuming it's Masai. Masai's dad and I have had the most challenging times, and I wasn't always sure we wouldn't end up like my mother and father, she says. But we've arrived at a place where I can truly say he's not my baby daddy. He's my friend. Finally, he's an amazing father. So I want to say, first of all, no women should be online discussing Nia Long's choice not to marry, especially not on her Instagram page. You know, if you want to go on your page and talk about a star or a celebrity, that comes with being a public figure. Even an influencer, you know, people talk about us, people have things to say about us, and we really can't stop that. You know, that's just what comes with it. So I don't think that anyone should be on her page telling her, girl, why aren't you married? I mean, because how does this affect you? You know, I'm really speaking of her talking points, because I think Nia shares this perspective that a lot of women share. And I also want to point out that Nia is in a unique circumstance because she is a wealthy woman compared to the average American. And she is able to build her wealth in a way that I think, you know, a lot of other people will never have the opportunity to do. But even in saying that, with her being a wealthy woman, I think she's with a guy that was a professional athlete. You put your resources together and you can build something greater. Furthermore, I have never met a child that said, I don't care that my parents wasn't married. I don't want my parents to be married. I've worked with children for over a decade. Children want to feel like their parents are committed to each other. And I'm not saying that you cannot be committed to each other if you're not in a marriage, but I do want to hit on some of the points that I think are interesting, and we should really look behind some of these comments that she has made. The first one being, I think there's this idea about freedom that I think a lot of people hold on to. I also played an excerpt of the podcast where she was basically, you know, kind of singing the same tune, but it's a little bit different, you know, as to the fact that I'm not interested in marriage. I don't want to be married. But, you know, Nia has been engaged 2 times. And I don't see a woman actually getting engaged if she is 100% sure that she does not want to be married. So there could be 2 reasons for this. One, a lot of times men place a ring on your finger as a placeholder. They're not really going to marry you, or they're not going to marry you anytime soon, but they will give you a ring so they can justify having children with you, living with you, and having free reign to your body. And so it could be a situation where it's like, let me propose, you know, that makes us closer somehow. Or it could be a situation where I want my freedom. You know, I've heard her mention, you know, what does marriage mean? You know, does it mean that we own each other? So I think that's a very interesting, you know, way to think about marriage as ownership. You know, I guess you could look at it that way in some ways, but marriage is it's a spiritual bond. God created marriage, so it wasn't even a worldly concept. And I think that a lot of times we have a lot of immature women and men who want to be free. They want that out just in case, even though they will commit themselves to a lifetime of being attached to someone because you have children. I don't want to be married because then I can't walk away. I can't leave when I want. I have to answer to you. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. That's just the truth of the matter. The responsibility of being a wife leaves a bad taste in some people's mouth, and they know they could never do what it takes to be a wife. So a situationship, as they call them, is better. You know, you don't have to be held accountable for your behavior and for your actions. So marriage is not a priority. They will always tell you marriage is not a priority. And basically this just means I want to be free. I don't want to live by any rules, guidelines. You do you, I do me. We come together. If this works for us, we'll stay together. If it doesn't work, we won't. The second thing I want you to think about is a lot of women like to cover up their issues under marriage or under the guise of marriage, or blame marriage, or act like love is so complicated. She mentioned that in the podcast too. You know, relationships are complicated, or love is complicated. And, you know, I find it interesting how she said that she's never seen a successful marriage. I think a lot of women carry this kind of baggage around. They've never seen a successful marriage. Their mom and dad wasn't married. Their grandparents wasn't married. Their aunties never got married. And so a lot of people are very negative towards marriage because they've never seen a successful relationship. And when you've never seen a successful relationship, you're going to have ideas about how complex love is. And, you know, you might choose to live together and have children, but you won't get married because you just have this idea that marriage is just something that you could do, you don't have to do, you never seen it really work, and so you have a negative perspective about it. And so I think that's important for women to think about when people are talking about marriages. Like, what is their baggage, and could they possibly be bitter? Could they possibly be hurt from their own relationships that they've had in their life? I think she does mention, you know, in the article, you know, that they went through a lot of challenging times with the father of her first child, because I think her children are by two different men. So I think it's important to remember that, you know, you have to be careful who you listen to, because a lot of people have a lot of baggage, and it could be negative baggage. Another thing, the idea that, you know, covering up, you know, how they really feel about love through, you know, this talk about marriage, because it's really not about marriage. It's about what they feel, you know, about their life experience. And we need to be objective when we're speaking about marriage. We need to have a clear perspective of the negatives and the positives. And we need to make sure that, you know, we're not allowing someone to bring in their negative energy into our thought process about doing what's best for us as women, because marriage is good for women. I believe if you are a sexual being, I believe if you want to be a mother, marriage is for you. There is no other option unless you're going to hop from man to man, you know, or pleasure yourself, which, you know, I'm not into it, but, you know, I know some women are into that. Unless you're going to, you know, find all these alternative ways to feel connected. As humans, we want connection. And marriage is the ultimate commitment. There is no higher commitment that you can make with somebody on this earth besides through your relationship with God. You know, so it is the ultimate commitment because you choose your spouse. You don't get to choose your family, your children. You do choose your spouse. And so I think that's why it's such a burden, or it's a scary thing, because if you fail, it's really about you and you can't really put it on anyone else. And so she talks about not having a great relationship with her dad and rekindling that. Please believe that that comes with issues and baggage as well. Women need fathers. Fathers are very important in the dating process and helping us to understand how to choose men. Fathers are so important and impactful in our lives. You know, I think a lot of the things that I see in my husband, I see in my father, you know, and having a father that loved me, that raised me, that was with my mother through all their ups and through all their downs. You know, no one has a perfect marriage or perfect relationship, but my father just being there and me having a relationship with him until this day definitely has impacted me as a wife and as a woman. And so I just wanted to throw those things out there, these talking points about why women say the things that they say, and you should be mindful of this. The next article that I want to quote is about Sinai Lathan. Now, I also love Sinai Lathan. She is a beautiful actress. I love her work. I love her as an actress. That's all I know about her, you know, as an actress. And so I really do appreciate her work some of her work as an actress. But I read this article a while back, and I wanted to talk about it, but I never got a chance to. And I think this video is a great time to do this. So let's read an excerpt from an Essence article with her. There is this weird obsession with Black women to marry, Lathan replied. We read all these fairy tales, Snow White, Cinderella, and they're being chosen by a man. That's when you win, when you are chosen by a man. That's not the truth, she declared. I'ma choose me first. This is very interesting. I don't think there's a weird obsession for Black women to marry. If that was the case, Black women would not have the lowest marriage rates of all racial groups in America. And so I don't believe that to be true. There is no pressure for you to get married. There's no pressure for you to have children. There is no pressure for you to do anything. If you feel this pressure, it is from probably your family, or your friends or your circle. So if you're feeling the pressure, it's from who you are surrounding yourself around. Or you are feeling the pressure because naturally as women, of course we want to be chosen by a man. Why wouldn't I want to be chosen by a man? I am not saying that is my life goal. That was the only thing I wanted to do. But definitely I wanted to be chosen by a man because I wanted to be a wife. So this idea that women aren't supposed to be happy or women aren't winning because they just want to be a wife or a mother and that's not winning is very toxic, and it's not true. So yeah, those things aren't true. You see how many relationships aren't working, Lathan continued. The divorce rate is, I don't know, it has got to be over 50%. It's actually not now. I think the divorce rate is about 40% now. It's going down. The millennials are making that happen. So I wouldn't invest in something with less than 50%. That's more than half a failure. All right, so I think this is interesting that Sinai Lathan is saying that she's not going to get married because the divorce rate is 50%, which it's not now, it's lower. Because what does other people's divorce rates have to do with your desire to be married or your ability to attract a quality man that is going to, add to your life and meet your needs, and y'all can build a life together? And, if you want to have a family, you could do that. I don't understand the mentality of, some of these statements. And this is not about her. Like I said, this is what I hear from a lot of women and men. The divorce rate is so high. I'm not going to, get into a relationship because of the divorce rate. And it's like, the divorce rate has nothing to do with you, ma'am, sir. You need to worry about if you're a quality woman and if you have, the skills and the emotional maturity, and you are bringing something into a man's life where, he's going to be like, I can't not marry you. I need to marry you. I want you in my life. I want to build with you. You are the one. And vice versa. When a man comes into your life and he's a good man and he's adding to you, and together y'all are able to make each other better, because that's really what marriage is about. That's one component of marriage, is you make each other better. It's interesting that a divorce rate would stop you from that. So to me, that's a bunch of hogwash. That's lies. That's propaganda. That's just, listen, I haven't been chosen. I can't meet the right man for me, whatever the reason. It could be her. It could be, her mentality, because Sinai is around successful men all of the time. She is around some of the richest, most eligible options in Hollywood. And so if she cannot find a man in Hollywood, there's a deeper issue there, because she has access to the top tier men. I'm going to end this excerpt with this last little sentence. She says, while the star isn't preoccupied with walking down the aisle, Lathan hasn't ruled out relationship altogether. In fact, she believes that loving herself first will bring her a better quality partner. Now, there's a lot of this loving myself, and loving myself will bring me a quality partner. And it's like, a relationship is really not about loving yourself, okay? That is about you, okay? But you loving yourself, the only way that relates to another person is that you need to be healthy spiritually, psychologically, mentally, physically, in order to be a good spouse for someone else. But it stops there. That's about it. A marriage is about loving someone else, okay? Sometimes not putting yourself first, sometimes thinking about the other person, sometimes compromising, sometimes saying, okay, I need to change because this is not helpful to my relationship. So I think in today's society, I can see why people are getting married, because everyone is so unbelievably selfish. And they really think it's all about them, and it's about self-love and self-help, and those things are good and they are needed, and I take care of myself and I'm well rested and I live well and I eat well. But let's not confuse self-love as though it's the key to having a quality relationship, because I'm here to tell you that's not the case. If anything, it's about thinking about someone else. So I just want to wrap up this video by saying, in particular to my young ladies, this is the best time of your life. You're young, you're exploring, new things, you're growing, you're evolving, and just be careful with the messages that you're internalizing. I want you to have an abundantly happy, blessed life. And marriage is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You have to pick the right person. You have to attract the right person into your life, and you have to also have the skills to maintain a healthy relationship. It's not easy all the time, but nothing in life that's worth anything is. And so just be careful with a lot of the celebrities that have dark energy. I'm not saying that anyone that I talked about does. I'm just saying that people have reasons why they feel the way they do, and you need to look beyond that and realize, if you desire a masculine man in your life who is a protector, who is a provider, if you do want a family under the institution of marriage, if you do want to serve God and be at one with your spouse, and it is just a beautiful life. It's an abundant life. It's really hard to describe in words how beautiful it is to be spiritually connected to your man and to build a life and to build a future together. And so listen to everybody, listen to their perspectives, but think about what you want for your life. What do you want for your life? Make sure you join us over on Wifey For Lifey. If you are in a serious relationship, if you're engaged, if you're a wife, I share stories about my journey as a wife, and we talk about femininity, and we talk about all of the issues that sometimes we face in marriage. So I'll see you over there. Take care. Bye.